Hi everyone, I'm Dario Morelli, and in this video I would like to share with you my method that I use to tag and process pictures for training and fine-tuning of AI models. The format is similar to the previous video, so this is not a tutorial. I'm just sharing with you my method in a quick way, and is not meant for beginners. It's meant for people that already know how to use ComfyUI and they know what it means to train an AI model for fine-tuning or LoRas, etc., etc. So for this example, I wanted to fine-tune the model in order to get a particular look of a camera. So I wanted to make pictures of a particular kind of camera, like a medium format, larger format, vintage camera, etc., etc. I had a particular look in mind because I wanted to produce some pictures with those kind of cameras as a subject, but I found that the base FLUX model didn't excel in making those kind of pictures, those kind of subjects. So I knew that I needed to train the AI model to really get the look of those kind of cameras. This is just one of the many examples. So the whole workflow can be divided into 4 main steps, which are collecting the pictures that you want, which can be seen here. So collecting the picture that you want, process them to get the proper size and aspect ratio, then tag those pictures, and at the end send those pictures to the fine-tuner, let's say. First step, collecting the pictures. I wasn't happy with the results when I asked FLUX 1.0 to make pictures of vintage cameras. Any kind of vintage camera, they always look a little bit wonky and not realistic. So I collected some pictures from the internet of those kind of cameras. It didn't matter the exact model or the exact size or shape. I collected a bunch of cameras, the cameras that I like and that I wanted to reproduce. And as you can see, some pictures are pictures that I took myself, some pictures I downloaded from the internet, some I don't know, I don't remember if I used them, but some maybe are AI generated themselves. And it of course is not anything special. You just have to go to any web search engine and like Google search and ask for the subject that you want. And of course, if you want to do it properly, I suggest to click on Tools and select Creative Commons licenses. So at least you have a peace of mind that you're not using pictures that are not meant to be used. So you're not infringing any copyright. But at the moment, as you maybe know, it's kind of a gray area. So you're not actually using the picture, selling the pictures, you are using them to make something else. And also in my training data, some of the pictures are not licensed with Creative Commons. Some of them are like YouTube thumbnails or something like that, and of course I have copyright, but as I said, it's a great area. And so as you can see, many kind of different sizes and aspect ratios, and most of them, since I wanted to make pictures of myself or any kind of person holding that camera, I preferred pictures of people holding cameras or touching cameras, or as you can see, using the cameras, not just the pictures of the camera itself. As you can see, cinema camera, large format cameras, vintage pictures, any kind of medium and large format cameras, or it doesn't matter. You can train the AI to for any kind of subjects, like a particular kind of flower, for example, or a particular kind of car or whatever. So in this case, it's cameras, and it's a kind of camera. So as you can see, many different cameras, but in common it's that the common thing is that they are mostly vintage. Most of them are medium or large format. Most of them have bellows, and most of them are made of leather and metal and so on. So they have a lot of things in common, but they're all different. And the styles of the picture are different from one to the other. So I didn't want to overtrain on a particular look. So it's better to have many different looks. So it's more versatile. So if you ask the camera to be in some kind of environment or in other situations, it doesn't always get to the same look. So this is the first part is collecting the pictures, and it's very simple. And as you can see, these are around 100 and something. Let's see how many they are, because we need the number for later. It's 125 pictures. So the second step, for the second step, we need to resize the pictures to be compatible with Flux. To resize the pictures, I made this very simple ComfyUI workflow, which takes a folder, and for each picture in the folder, it will resize to a compatible size. As you can see, the longest side of the picture will be 1024 pixels, and that's it. It doesn't do anything else, and it saves the picture in a new folder, which you can decide which folder you want, and with the proper name. So every picture will be named with the same prefix. So it's much easier to manage later. So I tried many different ways to batch process pictures, and I think at the moment there is no proper way to batch process pictures in ComfyUI. I also tried other softwares like Photoshop or any kinds of other methods, and this is by far the fastest that I found, and the simplest way. So once you set up this method, it's very simple to do to process all the pictures in one batch. And as I said, I tried different ways to batch the pictures, and you can set up some crazy nodes to look for, but even if it works, it's much slower that way. So to batch process the pictures with this workflow, you just have to match the count here to the number of pictures in that folder. In that case, is let's say it was 125. So you got here 125, and that's it. We just have to start the workflow, and as you can see, it's processing the pictures, and it's very fast. As you can see, it's processes them very quickly. And the same thing with Photoshop will take like 10 times this amount of time. So as you can see, the output path is resize YouTube, which is this folder here. As you can see, is updating, and the pictures are coming in, and every picture has the same prefix and the number afterwards. So when it's done, we will use another software to tag those pictures. I could use ComfyUI to do so, but I don't like the the results, and it's much faster this other way, which is also open source and also free to use. So to do that, as you can see, this is finished. Let's reset the number, otherwise I forget. To do the next step is to use a software called TagUI. So this is TagUI. As you can see, I already processed all the pictures beforehand, and as you can see, the language and the descriptions are very high quality. Not a list, is not a very simple phrase, short phrase, but is a very elaborate phrase describing the picture and the look of the picture and everything that inside the pictures. So to do so, I use this prompt where I mention our tag. The tag in this case is this name here, which is the same name that I use for the naming of the pictures themselves. And it will be the trigger word to call this LoRa, this fine-tuning model, and produce the pictures that we want. So I mentioned the word in the description, and I basically tell the AI, the LLM, that this is a picture of X. Describe the photo of the X. So I mention in this, I'm making clear that the picture is about the thing that I want to describe. It's not a generic picture. It's a picture of that thing. And in this case, I specify that it's a camera because I found out that it worked better in the phrasing of the description. So on one hand, the description will be very focused on the fact that it's a camera, and sometimes it's not that good if you want to train it for a non-specific thing. Otherwise, it could help to mention mostly like what it is generally, in this case a camera. And to help even more the phrasing of the description, I will use this as a start of the captioning. So A, X, and so, and then it will continue the captioning, the description of the picture. So the caption will always start with A, X, camera is being held by, etc., etc. So you will be sure that that name will be mentioned, and it's just at the start of the prompt and of the caption, and it will be. It's very versatile, because if it's a picture of the camera itself, it works, and it also if also the camera is being held by a person, you are sure that it will mention the camera. So it's not a man holding a X, because you are not sure that every time it will be mentioned. Sometimes it will be a man holding a camera, so and so and so, the X. Later it will be mentioned, but is a minor thing. In this case, it will always be central to the captioning. The text will be saved into a text file next to the actual picture, so in the same folder. Let's see if we can find the folder. Here they are. So picture 1, text 1, picture 2, text 2, etc., etc. If you can see, inside the text file there is a description. There is another neat use to this step here, which you can use to do another thing that I will do a video about it later, and it's a very interesting use of it. But for this time we will use it just to tag pictures. Next step is to zip everything into a zip file, maybe it's better, of course, if you name the same zip file with the same trigger word, so everything is easy to find and easy to manage. Next step is to go into, this is an example, but you can use other services, or you can do it your own with ComfyUI. I prefer this way because it just costs $2 and it's much faster, and it's not that expensive, and my time will, like, let's say if I do it locally, it will take like maybe 6-8 hours or so. So I prefer to spend $2 and have it now than do it the same myself and wait for 8 hours or something to see the results the next day. So I prefer to do it this way. You can do the method that you like, but the point is this method here, it allows to pick a zip file, and we can pick the file. We will write here the same trigger word, and it will generate the LoRa file. File will be here. It will appear here. As you can see, this is the one that I did, as you can see, 16 hours ago. Show files, download, and it will download it locally, and you put the file into your LoRa folder inside the ComfyUI folder, installation folder. Then basically the process is finished, and you can use it into ComfyUI. This is in the last video I showed my an example workflow that I use to make pictures of myself doing various things. And as you can see, I downloaded the LoRa here, and I added the LoRa inside this node with weight of 1. And if I prompt myself holding a Chrome X camera with bellows, it will produce this kind of picture here. It's not a particularly good quality picture, but the point is the camera matches the results, the look that we want. So if we go to our output folder, like here, you will see this is the same prompt without the LoRa. As you can see, this is a guy that vaguely resembles me holding a vintage camera, like a generic vintage camera. But once we add the LoRa, as you can see, the camera becomes like some kind of large format camera with bellows, and like medium or large format, but something with that kind of look that I wanted. So this is other examples. Of course, it makes me smile because I don't look like this, fortunately. But as you can see, same seed for the picture, and one without and one with the LoRa for the camera. So camera with the look, without the look. This is a generic like vintage camera, and this is a proper looking like medium format camera from 1940s or 50s, something like that. We can look at other results. These results here I made directly on the website of fal.ai here. Once you make the fine-tuning model, you can also run inference here, and you can make pictures directly here using that LoRa. And here are some of the results. Some of them I also added the LoRa for my face, but also, as you can see, this is for example, I like this picture. This is very realistic, and apart from the the thumbs here, but the camera looks good. Also here, this looks more like a compact camera, but here, as you can see, this is a very funky thing. It doesn't make sense, but I like the look of it. This one. So I think you get the point. The main focus here is not the what software you use, or if you use ComfyUI, or if you use Photoshop, if you use whatever. But the point is to start from very good data. So you have a good data set of pictures that you selected, and you chose picture with the proper aspect ratio, not too long, not too short, and you resize them to the proper size. You name them with the proper name, and most importantly, you caption every picture with the high quality caption. So you can do it without the captioning. If you can just upload pictures here and it would generate a LoRa, but it works for faces, it works for simple things. But if you want something very specific, very particular, something difficult to explain, you have to reason and try to get to the core of what you want from this fine-tuning, and make sure that the caption of the picture is mentioning the thing that you want from it. And so in this way, the process that I showed you, which is the process that I use, I think is a very straightforward and fast method to do so, and it produces satisfying results. I hope you liked this video, and if you have questions, if you have suggestions or whatever, you can write it in the comments. I will always read all the comments and answer all your questions. See you next time.